Sometimes when you are losing badly enough in a political race, you become political carrion. Something that was alive but is now no longer viable. And when you are that dead in a campaign, you ultimately will get picked apart by vultures. Do you remember Rick Santorum's campaign posters when he ran for president in 2012? Contextually, I am certain that what was supposed to be soaring through the zero in 2012 was an American bald eagle. I'm a big fan of bald eagles. There's one that stalks me every weekend in Western Mass when I fish the Deerfield River. But that particular bird silhouette that the Santorum campaign chose for their posters in 2012, it just happened to look less like an eagle and more like a vulture. I mean, the look was supposed to be vote for me and we'll soar above the clouds. It ended up being more scavenger, more vote for me and we will feast together on the carcass of the federal government. Because Mr. Santorum did not win in 2012, Rick Santorum's accidental vulture iconography from that campaign is now gone. But in one important way, I propose that he has not abandoned the vulture idea. As you know, things are getting downright primal in the Virginia governor's race. The Tea Party Republican candidate, Ken Cuccinelli, is now showing so few signs of political life that Rick Santorum has flown in, wings spread wide, to help him. Mr. Santorum's PAC, Patriot Voices, is now calling on the conservative masses across the country to freak out over what looks to be Mr. Cuccinelli's impending loss in the governor's race. Mr. Santorum is emailing all his Rick Santorum supporters to sound the alarm about Cuccinelli's campaign, to tell them that they can help in these last few weeks of the campaign. Dear social conservative concerned that Ken Cuccinelli is about to lose this race, it's 2 weeks out, but you can help him win. Send last-minute donations. Send money. And make sure you send that money to Rick Santorum. What? If you're worried about Ken Cuccinelli losing, send Rick Santorum your money. Not to be weird, but if you wanted to help Ken Cuccinelli in his campaign, wouldn't you send Ken Cuccinelli your money? I'm not in the business of giving political advice, but oh my God, Rick Santorum, you are a vulture. You are trying to pry one last cent for yourself out of the dying spasms of that poor man's campaign. You're like rifling the dead guy's pockets to see if he still had his wallet on him when he croaked. Amazing. With friends like those, it is clearly getting rough out there for Ken Cuccinelli. He's pretty much resolved now to just try to fire up his social conservative base in the last few days before the election. So he's doing events with Mike Huckabee, for example, as you see here, at the Jerry Falwell College at Liberty University. He's been doing campaign events with the Duggar family. They're an evangelical family of activists about whom there's a reality show because they have had 19 children and they say they want to have more. When Planned Parenthood started running this ad today in Virginia, which says that Ken Cuccinelli would force a survivor of rape or incest in Virginia to carry a pregnancy caused by her attacker, the Cuccinelli campaign decided to not challenge any of the claims made in the ad, even when the Washington Post called and asked them about it. That's maybe because, well, his base already knows and likes that he would force a survivor of rape or incest in Virginia to carry a pregnancy caused by her attacker. His base seems to see that as a plus, not a minus, so he can't really deny it. Even with Virginia papers endorsing none of the above in this race, or endorsing a guy who isn't even running for governor because they dislike both major candidates so much, the die really does seem to be cast against Ken Cuccinelli and the Republicans here. So much so that the national journal's reporting that the Republican Party has all but given up on his race, and they're instead moving campaign funds down the ballot to try to save at least one statewide race in Virginia so the Democrats do not win a sweep. And all of this is happening against the backdrop of the scandal involving the current Republican governor, Governor Ultrasound, Bob McDonnell. The most reliable thing in Virginia politics this year has been the steady drip of scandal surrounding Governor Bob McDonnell, and whether or not he did anything in exchange for the tens of thousands of dollars in cash and gifts that he and his family took from a Virginia CEO who was seeking all kinds of access to the Virginia state government. The latest reporting from the Richmond Times-Dispatch fills in a whole bunch of stuff we did not know before. They report that Governor McDonnell's legal team and his wife's legal team, those are two separate groups, met with federal prosecutors again last week to try to talk prosecutors out of a criminal indictment against the governor. The Times-Dispatch reporting that if there is going to be a criminal indictment of the governor, it's expected sometime after Election Day, but before Thanksgiving. There's also new reporting on the character of the case against Governor Bob McDonnell and what his defense is. Apparently central to his defense is his claim that he had no idea that his wife took $50,000 from that Virginia businessman. The governor says he's not responsible for that gift or any quid pro quo related to that gift because he didn't know that his wife took that money. She took it without telling him. She did it, not me. She did it. The man who wrote that $50,000 check to the governor's wife, however, has reportedly told prosecutors that the governor did so know about it because the two men met and talked about it ahead of the check being delivered. The Virginia CEO says he met with the governor one-on-one ahead of giving that $50,000 to let him know the check was coming. The governor denies that and says he didn't know about the money. He says his wife lied to him about it. She did it, not me. Family values. Protecting marriage from the evil gay people who want to sully that divine institution. And so Governor and Mrs. Governor have separate legal defense teams, meeting with federal prosecutors to try to talk them out of a bribery indictment. And it's 2 weeks to go till Election Day in Virginia. Cue the vultures.